Hello, and welcome back to the part 2 of Ultraman versus Superman. If you haven't seen the first part, I would definitely go watch that first. We are trying to test out the idea of who the beatdown is, using two teams that are sort of thematically opposed, but also seem to be pretty well matched. So just as a quick reminder, my team is the Superman team that uses Jimmy Olsen to make Superman really, really cheap, hopefully 3 or 2 cost, and then use Nowhere to turn that 6 cost, printed cost, into a 7. And so Rare Nowhere, because it's not on Retrobox yet, allows you to swap a character in your use pile or field zone for an unpurchased die that costs 1 more. So Superman would go back to his card, and I would get a 7 cost. And I'm using the uncommon Gorilla Grodd that gives Overcrush, or the new uncommon Thanos that you can field and name a character, and then while he's active, you can't field that character. And if it goes to the use pile, Thanos deals your opponent 4 damage. So pretty good there. And James's team is this Ultraman team that he's come up with.
And Ultraman, when I use Kryptonite, Ultraman, super rare Ultraman triggers, and I may use the effect of every basic action card in play. And that's coupled with Dwarf Wizard Uncommon, not the usual rare. And while active, he gets +2/+2 whenever I use an action die. And because of the Oracle ruling, using an action die and using the effect of a basic action and so on, these are all identical according to WizKids. So as many of the basic actions as I can use, plus Kryptonite, each of those will give +2/+2 to any Dwarf Wizards I have in the field. And the basic actions I'm using also give them Overcrush and +1 attack from Enraged Turtles basic action. And Nefarious Broadcast, another Turtles basic action, stops anyone distracting them or swapping their stats or whatever, because you can't use globals after it's applied. And that's the plan. And I'm proxying Shriek using Constantine dice, which is a bit lame, but I'm afraid it's still not here. Carnage is still not here. So he's got the same stats, but he shields instead of bolts. So let's try not to forget that. Okay.
All right. Okay. Let's take a guess that James is going to pick action.
I am.
And it's energy this time. I think I am going to try and go first.
Okay.
All right. Good luck, James.
Good luck to you, sir.
All right. So in this idea of who the beatdown is, last time I was pretty aggressive. And James was trying to be aggressive. His dice rolls didn't really work out for him, but also he was sort of abandoning all of his control and being almost recklessly aggressive. And so, oh, look at that. Okay, so I'm going to pay a shield for Rip Hunter and then 2 for Jimmy Olsen in the prep area. So this time we're going to try and see what happens if we try to slow it down and play a little bit more control. Maybe that'll, if he's not quite the beatdown this time, but he's more control, if that changes things.
It's kind of about making decisions about who's the beatdown or who's the control on a turn-by-turn basis, depending on what your opponent does and what you roll, rather than just committing to one mindless, aggressive strategy as I did last time.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Right. That could be flipped to a bolt with the Merlin Global, and I will prep a Shriek dressed as Constantine.
Early game. All right. Okay, so that's probably going to blank my Jimmy. Wow, that's a lot of sidekicks. And no Jimmy. Too many sidekicks, it turns out. Okay, if Jimmy doesn't come up, then I probably would try and get my Shriek. Because then at least he has to do something about that. But I'd really, really rather get Jimmy and a couple of... Actually, I'm going to roll all of them, because I need a couple of shields to try and prep a Superman this turn. Oh, no Jimmy.
No Jimmy.
And you have the Parallax Global, right?
Nope.
Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I could just buy Superman, but that seems a little useless, though. So what I think I'm going to have to do is get my own Shriek to try and counter your Shriek. I will get to prep a die with the Resurrection Global, but then I don't think this mask is going to do me anything this turn, which is a little unfortunate. Okay, well, I'll pay a shield and 3 energy for a Shriek. Okay. And then I will pay a shield to prep a die, which is going to be one of those. And then I think I just can't. Yeah, that's too bad. That's going to be a slower start. All right. Well, maybe we're both going to have to play a little less aggressively, but it's your turn.
Okay. Rolling sidekicks and Shriek dressed as Constantine. Rolled. Okay.
It's very hard to see on camera, but I can just barely make out that little.
I think it's on its third side, or at least it's on a one fielding cost side. That's the important thing. So I'm gonna field that, blanking. I think I'm just gonna blank Jimmy because I have to make you waste your Shriek, blanking my Shriek, and that you're gonna have to do that if I blank.
Yeah.
That's the source. That's the source of your economy. So I'll field that for one, and I will use Repunters to prep a Kryptonite for 2, including a bolt. And I'll pass turn to you.
All right. So this will clear, and then I'll draw these 3, and then you never know. Maybe I can get Jimmy after all, especially if Shriek rolls. It worked out for me so well in game 1, getting Jimmy and then Superman. It couldn't last. Okay, well, I also have the level 3 Shriek. Gosh, I'm tempted to keep the sidekicks just so I can clean my bag out at this point. The problem is if I need to pay 1 to field, and then I probably want to resurrect just so I can have more energy. But I don't have much I can do with 2 energy. I could buy misdirection, and then maybe if Jimmy doesn't roll, I can do something with resurrection.
Uh-huh.
I didn't get to use resurrection last time, but I think that's not the end of the world because it doesn't. I don't really have any when fielded abilities besides Shriek, so just getting him in the field is important. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and turn this to a bolt. I'm going to use that bolt to field Shriek. I'm going to field this sidekick. I'm going to pay a shield and resurrect, and then I'm going to pay 2 for a misdirection. And then I will also, when I name Shriek, I'll name your Shriek.
Right.
All right. So it doesn't matter that it's Constantine now. Pass turn.
Okay. So I'm refilling my bag. At this point, I've done a bit of control and hopefully caused, well, together with his bad rolls, for whatever reason, whether it was my Shriek or his bad rolls, Zach has experienced a setback. So now I'm feeling like I should go hell for leather for mutilation, overcrushing mutilation.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of depends on rolling a double energy on the Kryptonite, which I did.
Oh.
So that's 6 energy, which will buy an Ultraman. And I'll pass turn to you.
All right. Now, one problem is it's not that hard to buy a 6 cost, but it is pretty difficult to prep a 6 cost, I think.
Yes, that's very true.
All right, so 3 from the bag, refilling, and then there's just sidekicks and a misdirection in there, and it's a sidekick. All right. So the hope, I guess, is to get Jimmy out. Wow. And buy a Superman, and at least get 1. Okay. Superman will cost 3. So even if Jimmy costs me 1 energy to field, I should still be able to do it and prep him. So, because I can always use the global for your Merlin global for my sidekick. So let's get Jimmy this time. Ah, there we go. Okay. We're a little bit better now. Okay, so we'll get Jimmy in the fields. We'll pay a shield for chalkboard, and then for 3 energy, Superman's getting a 2 energy discount because of Jimmy, and then his ability is 1 less for every Superman affiliated character, which Jimmy is. So there we go. Got him in the prep area, and I will just pass turn to you.
Right, that's instantly looking a lot healthier, isn't it?
What happened to your Shriek? Oh, God, it's so hard to see. I thought you were taking it away. Just there in the top corner of your field zone.
Invisible Shriek.
Oh, my gosh. One benefit that the regular Shriek has over your costume Shriek.
Right, then. At this point, I ought to start buying Dwarf Wizards. I'm going to flip that. I'm going to take a risk of not having enough characters in my field, which is a risk. Flip that to a shield using Merlin Global, and I will prep a Dwarf Wizard. And I'll pass turn to you.
All right. So inevitably you will have to attack, and then hopefully I'll get a chance to, maybe I can block with my Shriek, and then I can retarget or something. But if I can get a big Superman out, you're going to have to make a decision about whether you're going to take, 6 or 7 damage. 6, it turns out.
Uh-huh.
Or block with that Shriek. You know what? If I could get a shield, I could buy another Superman and then misdirection it in for that sidekick, and that would be a pretty good wall to have pretty early in the game. So let's. You know what? If I could get another Superman, I would even be willing to swap it out for Shriek, because then I could shoot Shriek could cycle, and I could retarget it on your Dwarf Wizard or your Ultraman.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm gonna roll these 3 again. I don't have to spend any energy to field Superman because of Jimmy Olsen. Okay, actually, perfect. So I can field Superman for free, and now there are 2 Superman affiliated characters in the field, and so I can buy Superman for only 2. And so
Nice.
I will. Actually, these are all in my use pile. That's going to be my use pile. I'll go ahead and field this sidekick, mostly just to get it out of my bag, but I can bank it for a bolt later if I need to. And then now I got a decision to make. I can swap out a sidekick for Superman. He'd be a 4/6 at level 1. Or I can do it for Shriek, and he'd be a 7/8. And Shriek would cycle, but I wouldn't necessarily need Jimmy for a couple turns, so that may not be the end of the world. In fact, I think I'm going to do that. I think
Sounds
the
pretty
more I
good.
talk about it, the more I like it.
You've convinced yourself.
I've convinced myself. Because now I've got 2 Superman. I don't have Nowhere yet, so it doesn't even really matter. I'm just going to keep Superman out until I get Nowhere. Then I have to keep buying him, obviously, after that. But, okay. I think you've only got 1 Shriek in the field, so it definitely makes sense for me to attack with a 7/8 and a 6/7.
Blimey. I think I'll probably block the. I'll block the bigger of the 2.
The 7/8. Okay, so you'll
Hang
take.
on. Wait, is it 6 and 7 attack?
6/7 and a 7/8.
Jesus, 6, 7, 7.
Yeah, level 2 and a level
No,
3.
I'll block the smaller.
Okay, so you'll take 7 and go
Yep.
down to 13, and then the 6 will come back, and then your Shriek is. Now I'm wondering if you're gonna re-blank Jimmy or if you're gonna re-blank something else instead.
Whew.
All right, so that comes back into the field. That looks like that. So I guess I've decided I'm going to try and be the beatdown now that I've gotten a little bit of a board.
That was pretty aggressive. Good work.
That's true. Your turn. I figured maybe I could get your Shriek to not roll, or maybe I could try and get you to take 13 damage, and then it would only take a little bit after that.
Well, I still got to get bloody Ultraman out,
Yeah.
and he still has to roll. So I'm a little bit away. All right.
Well, at least you got your Shriek back, although it's very hard to tell.
She's on a 0 fielding cost. I don't know what side that is. And the dwarf has a 1 fielding cost.
I think she's only doing fielding cost on level 1. So.
And right. So yeah, better field them. There they are. And I will blank. Oh, I'll blank your. Huh. Whew. Now, at this point, I don't really know what would give me more pleasure.
You could blank Shriek, you could blank Jimmy, you could blank Superman. You can't blank Nowhere, unfortunately, but you could also blank one of the cards that I might swap into, but that would be preparing for the future a little bit too much, I think, at this point.
Yeah. I think I'm going to blank Shriek.
Okay.
I think I'm going to do that. Yeah.
Okay, so I can't blank any of your characters to get rid of your win conditions.
I'm gonna. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna prep a kryptonite with the energy I have left.
Okay.
And I'll pass turn to you.
All right. So bag is empty. A lot going in there. Shriek was now blanked, but maybe she could still be useful if I were to, I don't know, get a Grodd in the field. I could always just get Shriek out and then count on your rolls to do what they do.
Yeah.
Although I'm realizing now that Jimmy Olsen makes Superman free to field, which is probably in my favor at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I could field him. I could always buy Superman for 2. now that I've got 2 characters out in the field. And so buying as many of those as possible would allow me both to have an aggressive thing that I could swing with, but also your whole win condition is based on overcrushing, and these guys have a pretty decent defense.
Mm-hmm.
It also wouldn't be too bad to get a super girl out because she has Iron Will, and so if she blocks one character, I wouldn't take any from that.
True.
Hmm. I suppose if Shriek comes up as a character that I need to spend 1 on, I can always just resurrect, and that's not the end of the world. Because I think the rest of my bag right now is just sidekicks, so it wouldn't be bad to just try to get some of those out. Okay, well, she came up as Bolt again, so I'll go ahead and field him for free. And in your field, you've got Dwarf Wizard, and you've got... Yeah, I think I'm just going to have to keep attacking you.
Yeah, you should do that.
I don't have 2
There's only,
shields, so I can't prep a Superman.
There's only so many 7s and 6s I can take to the face.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, so I can't buy Supergirl. I mean, I could if I spent one of my sidekicks using your Merlin. That's not terrible. I could spend these 2 energy to buy Superman, but then I wouldn't have anything to do with my Bolt. So I think and I don't have a mass, so I can't buy Nowhere. I think in the interest of using my energy to its fullest, I'm going to spin this to a Bolt, and I'm going to spend, 4, and buy Supergirl, who only gets the 2 discount from Jimmy. She gets no other discounts, but that brings her 6 cost into a 4 cost.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then I'm going to attack with a 6/7 and a 4/6. Let you deal with those.
Yeah. I imagine I'll just block them.
Okay.
Not sure I feel. Hang on. Block them. Yeah, I'll block.
Okay. So they'll stay out, and you'll get a lot of dice. All right, I'll pass turn to you.
Okay. Oh, okay. Ultraman's out of the bag.
Oh man.
Not yet in the field, though. And now I have to roll everything again. Okay, he did roll.
And Dwarf Wizard.
But okay, you don't have Shriek in the field. So
I don't. I guess she's not blanked anymore, but it wouldn't have done me any good to field her last turn as a blanked character.
Okay. Well, it would be nice if Kryptonite rolled, that's for sure.
I mean, you do get another chance.
I think that would be better. If I had to field it, not so much, but it would be better either as a character or a double shield. So I think I'll probably re-roll that.
Well, double shield would be double bolt.
Double bolt. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that, well reminded.
You can't use it for resurrection. Don't forget it.
In which case, okay, they've got fielding cost. Let's not forget. You know what? Let's just do this. No.
Oh man, almost exactly the same.
It's happening again.
It's happening again.
Right. Let's fill those. Let's get rid of that while it's a bolt. Okay, that's a bolt, and that's a bolt. Oh, that's frustrating. Okay, what have we got? Not a lot. Not a lot. I think I will. So I fielded that. We're all right, and I will prep a Dwarf Wizard. Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, you've already got 2 kryptonites. Okay. I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I'm drawing. Yeah, I think. Oh, I forgot. There is actually something else in there besides sidekicks, but not for me this turn. Which actually is too bad, because I really would have appreciated getting Misdirection and getting that Supergirl out right before you get your Dwarf Wizards. Yeah, you know what? It's just going to make sense to go ahead and pay a shield and 3 energy and get a Nowhere in my prep area.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll start that threat of what am I going to swap into. So now you've got different characters. You've got a 1/3 and you've got a 6/6. So that could knock out one of my characters. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm only going to attack with the 6/7. So I'm not being hyper aggressive here, but That way, he definitely has to KO Ultraman if he blocks with it, or Dwarf Wizard.
Yeah, I'm blocking with Dwarf Wizard.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Lower fielding cost. Okay, so that's I'll come back out, and then you pass to you.
Okay, second chance at rolling a kryptonite. I think maybe I've got those kryptonite dice that have energy on all their faces.
I mean, that could be useful in some contexts.
Well, I've got the kryptonite, but no wizards. Oh, man. Do me a favour. All right, try that again, shall we? Come on, wizards. Do your magic. There's one.
There's one wizard.
One. There we go. Huh. What do you reckon I can do with that? Something fun?
I think the order that you do things here is going to matter with the basic actions that we have.
You're right. Okay, so my basic actions are fairly straightforward. They give Overcrush +1 and stop globals being used. So if I want to use a global, I should use it now. You don't have any energy in reserve, so that's not an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Your basic actions, misdirection allows me to. No, it means I have to swap a dice in the field or something. Is that right?
If you have a character die in your use pile.
Aha, which I currently don't. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
But Resurrection just says roll a die in your used pile and place it into your reserve pool. So if you bought something,
yeah, that would be better, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
If
if you bought a character, you could use Resurrection first, and then you wouldn't have to misdirect.
Yes. Yeah, that's what I'll do. And it doesn't have to be a character with Resurrection. It can also be.
Just says roll a die, so it could be an action. It could be anything. Yeah.
Which is interesting. Sure. What would it be better to get? 2 Dwarf Wizards, Overcrushing. The second one wouldn't get all the buffs, but it would get some of them. Or a second Kryptonite, which would continue to buff the first one.
I think you'd have to. I think you'd have to. I don't know. How would that work? You'd have to resolve all of them. I don't think you could. I don't think you could field the Dwarf Wizard until after you'd finished resolving Kryptonite. And so I don't think it would get any of the buffs.
Hang on. So what? I put it in my reserve pool, but I don't roll it immediately. Is that how it is?
Well, you roll it, but then it would be in your reserve pool, and then after you finished resolving Kryptonite, then you could field it if it came up on a 0 energy phase.
Aha. Is that right? Okay. If that's the case, then
Or, I mean, I guess if you could save an energy, you could get a 1 energy phase one, too.
If that's the case, I have to... Wow, I've got a steam train running through my head.
I must have a window open accidentally. Sorry.
Probably not a steam train, to be fair. Right, I'll probably be better off trying to roll a Kryptonite then, I would think, if that is the case. I'll tell you what I could do. No, I can't because I've got nothing in used. I was going to do a White Tiger Global. Right. Okay, so I will use Resurrection.
Yeah, before you can't use globals anymore.
And then I will buy, that's unused, I will buy a Kryptonite, that's transition, sorry. I will buy a Kryptonite. And then I will, there's nothing more I can do with that. So I'll trigger Mr. Ultraman. And so I will trigger them in this order. I'll get that out of there with Resurrection.
Okay, so roll it.
Okay. Roll to Oh, and by the way, your Superman characters can't block because I was on a burst.
Oh goodness, that's unfortunate.
Oh, and that's also on a burst. Okay, so this is going to be complicated. Okay, so I can't do misdirection, so I miss out on that one, I guess.
Yes.
The other 2 I can do, so that's a total of 4 so far. So he gets, if I'm not mistaken, +8, +8, plus another one for enrage, so +9, +9.
+9, +8.
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, +9, +8, and they both have Overcrush.
Yep.
And then I will trigger again. I still can't use globals. This time I can't use resurrection as far as I can see. So I can only use. Okay, so he's going to get +2/+2 from that one.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
I
11.
can use both of mine, but neither of yours.
Can you use nefarious broadcast again?
Yeah, I think you can. I think I
Okay.
played this with Paul. I mean,
Sure.
anybody
All right.
could. I think, yeah, I'm
So
pretty
you
sure I
should be
can.
at 11, and then 13 for enraged, and then 15 for nefarious broadcast. So plus another one for enraged, so we should be a 16, 14.
16/14 with
Oh, but then he's got
overcrush.
+2. Yeah, it's like all
Uh,
complicated. 16. It's
let's
like a
let's not.
16, 16.
Is it? Oh,
Doesn't
I'm
matter what
losing
the
count.
defense is. I'm not going to be able to kill
Well,
it. And
let's
then
let's not
your
let's not forget
Ultraman
that.
should be 8.
Yeah, Ultraman gets 8 and also gets overcrush because Enrage gives
Yeah.
it to 2 characters. Your Supermen can't block, and you've got a total of 4 in defense.
Well, actually, he also is a Superman affiliated character, so I can
Ah,
only block with my sidekick.
so I reckon you're dead.
I think I am. Yeah.
We could run
Yeah.
through the maths again, but I think there should be
No.
enough.
Yeah. That's definitely like 23 damage. Ugh.
Boom.
Man, Fatal Flaw didn't protect against the kryptonite blanking all my Supermen there.
Not blanking, but
Well,
well,
making it so
actually,
they couldn't block.
both blanking and yeah. Sorry, I'm
Yeah.
targeting your super characters with my kryptonite.
Yeah, I needed nowhere about a turn earlier, so I could have swapped it for something that could have blocked, and then I might have been able to survive and come back pretty hard. Yeah, all right. Well, anyway, good game, James.
Revenge. Thank you, Zach.
All right.